Okay, I'm going to open or start admitting people. We have about 15 people in the waiting room, but I don't find that it's useful to delay much longer than that. So I'm going to get started and people will join as they can. Hi, everybody. Welcome to UmojaHack Nigeria. I see people are filtering in, but we like to stick to a relatively tight schedule for these events. And I know most of you want to get hacking as soon as possible. So I'm going to get started. I expect people to keep joining the meeting over the next few minutes. So a very warm welcome to all of you. A welcome especially to all participating Nigerian university students. A warm welcome to Mr. Sri Ambati from H2O.I, to Mrs. Ngozi Ola Israel from AXA Mansard, to Selina Lee from Zindi. Welcome to our ambassadors as well. And I'd like to start by saying thank you to everyone. Thank you to the students, to our sponsors, H2O, Microsoft, AXA Mansard, to our partners, Data Science Nigeria and AI Saturdays Lagos, and a big thank you to our ambassadors, especially Olufemi Aziz and Obiemi Bamigbade. Thank you to all of you for your help and for making this event happen. So I imagine that many of you know a little bit about UmojaHack and about Zindi. Some of you may have participated in UmojaHack Africa, but for those of you that haven't, UmojaHack is a concept that started in March this year with UmojaHack Africa, and the idea really was to provide a place for data science students from all over Africa to participate and to compete in a machine learning challenge. So we coined the phrase of a Pan-African machine learning hackathon, inter-university hackathon. And that first event was just an amazing success. We had more than 1,000 students. We had 56 universities represented. We had 15 different countries. And we were blown away. And in the midst of a global pandemic, we realized that this virtual competition format worked really well on Zindi, and we just wanted to bring it to as many countries as possible. So since then, we've run, I believe, 8 UmojaHacks in various countries around Africa. We've had probably close to 1,000 more students participate in UmojaHacks since that first UmojaHack Africa. And we were always very excited to bring UmojaHack to Nigeria. Nigeria is Zindi's biggest market. We know how big the data science community and how enthusiastic the data science community in Nigeria is. So this was always going to be a big one. And having looked at the signups, I think we may get as many as 300 participants today, which would be really, really amazing. And that would definitely make this our biggest UmojaHack to date, or country-based UmojaHack to date. So I assume that most of you know a little bit about Zindi, but for those that don't, Zindi is a machine learning and data science platform focused specifically on Africa. We hope to be a place where African data scientists of all levels can come to learn, to grow, to network, to find jobs, to gain experience, and hopefully to build their careers in data science. We just recently went past the 20,000 user mark, which was a really, really exciting milestone for us. And in general, this has been an amazing year for Zindi. We've grown really strongly. We've had phenomenal events, phenomenal participation from from people all over the continent and beyond. And yeah, we're looking forward to 2021 to keep growing from strength to strength. Before I go into the details of the competition, I'd like to give some of our sponsors a chance to address you. So first up, I'd like to invite Mr. Sri Ambati. Sri is the CEO and founder of H2O.ai, and he'll tell you a little bit more about H2O.ai. They have graciously sponsored this event, have sponsored the prizes and the data funding that some of you will be able to gain access to. And we're of course extremely grateful to Sri for his ongoing support. So over to you.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for joining the UmojaHack. I think it's incredibly exciting to see community being built. I thank Selena and Paul and team from Zindi to giving us the opportunity to sponsor the effort in Nigeria. I think one of these days, Umoja will be as large as Ubuntu for Unix. We're super excited. H2O is democratizing AI. Our open source platform is widely used across the planet, and we're here to build community worldwide. So we're super excited at the opportunity to introduce ourselves in Nigeria and rest of Africa. Almost all of us can point our source origin to Africa, so we feel our incredible debt to this unique human resource talent pool. Talent is universal, and the most valuable thing in the world is our human mind, and unlocking it with imagination and inspiration to solve problems of social nature. I think Zindi has been an incredible presenter of that platform. So we're super excited to support your efforts here in this UmojaHack. We believe AI will democratize opportunity all over the world, including Africa. And H2O AI is home to one of the largest data scientist community, both in our open source and in our umbrella, we have the world's largest number of grandmasters. We hope to have a lot of Zindians join our ranks in 2021. So hopefully we'll be able to search for incredible talent. And as you compete in Zindi, we'll be looking for some of that talent to join our ranks to help our customers. H2O has an incredible user base as well as customer base, and we're growing rapidly. So we look forward to building our communities here with the help of Zindi and others. Data science is a search for truth, and it's really exciting to see data science unlock opportunity for millions of Africans, not locally, but globally. So H2O is proud to be a partner of Zindi's efforts in this. So good luck today for your competition. Data funds AI, data is the fuel for AI. And so excited to see AXA to present this incredible opportunity to solve their problems in using crowdsourcing. So congratulations to all of you, and hope to see the winners later online. Thank you for having us, Zindi.
Thank you so much, Sri. Thank you for the kind words, and I think I would echo that and say we're also very excited to have you on board for this amazing revolution in data science in Africa. Okay, so next up, I'd like to ask Mrs. Ngozi Ola Israel to address us. Ms. Ola Israel is the CFO and CDO of AXA Mansard. AXA Mansard is our data partner for this challenge, and we're very, very grateful for your support. Over to you.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks to Zindi for this great opportunity and this platform to speak to all of you. So as was mentioned, I'm the CFO and the CDO So that's the Chief Data Officer at AXA. And we have a side joke that we make in the company. So I say that I am a CFO during the day, and then at night I am a Chief Data Officer. And that's really how I combine the roles. And what I have found is that my data science community, or my data science, community, so locally and otherwise, usually a lot more fun than the finance community. So just just on the side. Anyways, so even though I have an engineering background, I basically fell in love with finance, and somehow or the other found myself in this space. And what I've noticed is,
You loud the volume now.
all right, I'll just continue. So what I've noticed is, and what makes me passionate about finance is the ability or the platform that it creates to help understand the business, and of course, using that to drive performance. But on the data side, I think what's even more mind-blowing is the amount of opportunities that creates to enable us solve different sort of challenges. And if I break it down and talk about Manfred, which is an insurance company, as you know, and I look at the insurance company in Nigeria, where the penetration rate is just about 0.3%. And what that means is that only about 2% of the entire population is engaging with us as an industry and buying or using our products. And I'm sure that you will agree that it's a very, very low amount. And the other point is that this is also an industry, so the insurance industry, which in time past has had a reputation of being very traditional. And so we are really hoping with, of course, some of our competitors as well, that we're beginning to change the name and change the game from in terms of the reputation that we've had. And we do believe that at AXA Mansard, with a very thriving data science community, that we are changing the game, that we are changing the name and doing things a bit differently compared to what others are doing. So I'd like to thank Zindi once again for creating this platform for you. I'm also glad that you are aspiring data scientists. And just like I mentioned, the opportunities are truly endless, and not just for the insurance industry, but across financial services. I definitely know that there is a need for people like you to make changes to help with prescription, description. And if I give just a very simple example, the kind of questions that we ask ourselves in the company is, how do we combine a customer's age, for example, his Instagram posts, and his driving speed? How does that tell us what sort of products that we should prescribe for our customers? Because people are tired of the very simple products that they feel don't speak to them. And the question is, how can we use AI? How can we use data science to prescribe specific products that meet our clients' needs? That's on one side. And of course, how can AI also help us to prescribe the kind of claims trends that we will experience now and in the future? Because that will definitely help us with planning, help us with investment plans, help us with pricing and all of that. And so today, through this hackathon, my understanding is that majority of you, or I believe that majority of you, will advance in your knowledge of applied machine learning and artificial intelligence. And we'd like to see how creatively you can solve the challenge that we have provided to you. Start believing in yourself, and please make sure that you give your very best. So I wish you all the best as you take up this challenge, and I say that let the best model win. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you to AXA Mansard once again for an exciting challenge. And I'm sure you guys are looking forward to some of the outputs and the solutions that we'll deliver, that everyone here will help deliver. Okay, so thank you to all our sponsors. I'm going to go now on to a little bit of the technical details of the challenge. I'm sure this is what many of you are looking forward to and are excited about. So I'm going to share my screen. so that you can have a look at, so I can just talk you through a few things. Sorry, I've got to lie here. Very frustrating. Okay. All right. Okay. So let me bring this over here so we can. All right, so I'm going to just take you briefly through a few aspects of the challenge that you might need to know. If you haven't used Zindi before, there should be a sign-in button up here, and you can sign up or log in up at the top. You want to navigate to hackathons here. Join the, sorry, I just disable this. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. All right. So you'll see under hackathons, you can scroll down. You're looking for UmojaHack Nigeria. Once there'll be an option to sign up here, and there is a code that's been shared with you via your university representatives that will allow you to access the challenge. The data is still protected. We will share a code for you to be able to unencrypt the data at the beginning of the challenge. So that's at 10 a.m. Nigerian time. Okay, so just a little bit of a review of some of the important aspects of this challenge today. Here on this info page, you can read about the challenge. You can see more about the data here. Once you are making a submission, there's a leaderboard that you'll be able to follow yourself, and you can make a team. In order to make a team, if you would like to participate in a team, you can create teams of up to 4 people. You can create a team there. There are a number of rules. You would need to name a team. And then you can invite people using their username and then send an invitation. So that's how you would create a team. You are welcome to create a team or work on your own. Once that's done, I want to briefly go through the rules of the competition, just so that everyone's on the same page. As I say, you can participate as an individual or up to teams of 4. There's a maximum submission count, which you'll be able to see in the data section, I believe. Multiple accounts per user are not permitted, and if you're going to collaborate and share code, you will need to do so within a team. Sharing code between teams is not permitted, or between individuals is not permitted. We have provided all the data that you will need for this competition, so all of the data is available once the competition starts. All the data will be available under the data tab. We also ask that you only use open source and publicly available packages and programming languages. We ask that your models don't use metadata, and we ask that you don't use automated machine learning. A reminder that the data belongs to Zindi as well as the competition hosts, so you aren't allowed to share it or redistribute it. You are, of course, allowed to download it and work with it for the purposes of this challenge. And then a reminder that the winning solutions will belong to Zindi as well as to Axel Mansard. Anybody who wins will ask you for your submission, and then it will be validated, and then that will belong to Axel Mansard. So what else do I need to talk about here? You're automatically judged, and that ranking happens automatically, but then also you'll be ranked against the private test set, or you'll be ranked on a private leaderboard at the time of the competition closing. You must be a registered postgraduate or graduate student at a university of Nigeria for you to participate. if you are not, you can only participate in a mentorship or advisory capacity. So that's if you are a lecturer, a staff member, or an alumni, you can help by mentoring and giving advice, but you can't participate yourself. And we will ask for proof of registration from the winning teams. Your solutions must use machine learning, but you're encouraged to use exploratory data analysis and other techniques when building your solutions. Your solutions can only use the available data. Any form of cheating or breaking of these rules will result in your disqualification from the competition. And as I said, we expect the winning code to be submitted to, so that's the top 3. We expect that's the top 5. We expect the code to be submitted to review, to Zindi for review within 24 hours of the competition closing. You will receive an email from us to that effect. So then, speaking of prizes, we have 5 prizes available today. You must be, as I said, you must be a Nigerian student. The prizes, the first prize is 250,000 Naira. Second prize is 200,000. Third prize is 150,000. Fourth is 100,000. And fifth is 50,000. These prizes will be awarded. We will announce the winners today, but the prizes will be awarded once code has been verified. So please do bear that in mind, that you need to submit code that runs and reproduces your score in order to be awarded a prize. So briefly, in terms of the timeline today, we're currently busy with a welcome and orientation session. Right after this, we're going to have a technical orientation to the platform and a tutorial from OPME. And that will take you through a starter notebook that will be available for everybody. And the idea of the starter notebook is that if you're not sure where to start, the starter notebook can be submitted as is and will give you a benchmark score. That's a good place to start if you're not sure how to go about tackling a challenge like this. So that will be at 9:30. The competition itself will open at 10 a.m. and run through to 7 p.m. Tonight, submissions will close at precisely 7 p.m. And then at 7:15 p.m. we will meet back here to announce the winners. So it will be on the same Zoom link, and you can attend this evening. Something that we ask is that everybody makes sure their university is listed in their profile. So I want to take you briefly through how to do that, because it is something that's caused some confusion in the past. So if I'm just going to move this, sorry. So if I go to edit profile, so you click your profile at the top right and go to edit profile. If we want to add our university, you would go here, and I can say University of Lagos. You can type any university here. If the university exists already on Zindi, it will show up in a drop-down menu. But if it was the University of Gold, then I can just hit enter, and that would create a new entry. I've got this option selected from show in profile. So if I say from January 2019 to present, and then I click add. So now I've added this university, but for it to show up on my profile, I need to scroll down here, and here it says workplace, university, or organization to show next to your username. I would now select the University of Gold, and you can see this is how it would show up on the leaderboard. And we ask you to do this so that we can keep track of who is winning. So if you're, and which universities are participating. So I'd like you all to please do that as the first thing you do on Zindi. And then please don't forget to save. It won't autosave, so don't forget to click save. Okay, so that's everything I wanted to go through. I'd like to hand over to Yemi to give a tutorial, but before I do that, I am going to just take a moment to see if there are any questions and ask if, so if anybody has a question, please do type it in the chat. You can type it in now or anytime during Yemi's presentation. and we'll try and address those questions. Okay, but I think, Yemi, you can get going. If you're ready, you should be able to share your screen.
Thank you so much, Paul. I'm going to be sharing now. Okay. Sorry, can we all see my screen? Right.
Oh,
so
sorry, I was muted. Yes, I can see it.
Awesome, awesome. So I welcome you again to Zindi UmojaHack for this 2020, this 2020. And this is just a starter notebook to get you started. So if you are finding it difficult to join the hackathon or to make your first submission, this notebook will be a first start and a great start for you. So we have about 4 CSV files here, the sample submission. So if I go to the platform, I can see that in the data, though I don't have access to the data that you'll be given will be what you will see 4 of them in the zip file. Then when the code is being shared by 10 a.m. this morning, then you can have access to all this data. So we have the sample submission, we have the test, we have the training, variable definition. So for you to get started, you need to first of all start your Jupyter notebook or Jupyter Lab, or if you're using Colab, whichever platform you're using. Okay, then you import all necessary libraries. For now, since this is a book, I'm using NumPy. Then I'm importing date time because I've the data and I've seen that we have some couple of dates in the data. I'm using Seaborn, I'm using Matplotlib, then cross-validate on my data set. So I'm using sklearn trade splits for that. So once we import the libraries, we can read the data into Python environment by using pandas. So yeah, I'm reading my train.csv and I'm storing it as a variable train. Same thing goes for test and variable definition. So first thing you do simple EDA, you want to do exploratory data analysis. You want to be familiar with the kind of data you have been given to. You want to know what is inside the data. So that's the first stage that you need to do. So this is me trying to do train.ed. With train.ed, I can see the first 5 rows of the data set. So as you can see, it means that from this data set, I have the ID then I have the policy start date, I have the policy end date, I have the gender of the customers in male and female. So all these listed features are all in the data, and this is for the training data. So by now, since I'm doing EDA, I'm aware that in my data, I have date features, I have categorical features, I also have numerical features. With these, I can know the kind of libraries I need to add more to this. And I can know the kind of analysis I need to do on the data set. So that will guide me through how to go about the computation. Then the most important part is, what is the computation about? If you look at this target variable, you see that the target word is in binary. I'll still get to that. So it means that we are doing a classification model. I mean, we will be building a classification model, right? So that goes for that. So with this, I've done a simple EDA. I've familiarized myself with the data. Then I cross-check set to see if the features in train is also present in what? In the test data set. And to my understanding of this, I could see that for the training data set, the target variable is what? Is present for the training, but for the test data set, we don't have the target variable, which is what you will be predicting with your model, and that's fine. So I check my sample summation. Of course, after building a model, you want to check your sample summation. You want to make a submission on Zindi. So you have to know the kind of format that Zindi requires you to submit. So I check my sample summation with .ed, and I can see that I just need to give the customer's ID and my model prediction in this format. Okay, so the first thing I would do if I were to be competing in this competition is to first of all submit the sample submission file. I'll submit it to the platform and see if the sample submission file is in line with what Zindi wants me to submit. So upon submitting that to Zindi and I get a particular score, then I know that fine. All my other submission, we have to follow this particular order. Okay, if you look at the variable definition, you'll see that we have the meaning of each of the features here. For the policy start date, it just means that the date policy started. So you have to get, you have to familiarize yourself with the definition of these features and know what, so that you can know the kind of analysis you can do on each of the features. If you are not familiar with any description, and if you are not still okay with that, you can take the description and Google it to know more about the data. With that, you're already getting conversant with the data. You're already knowing the data. You already know the kind of analysis you want to do. So you're already shaping your mind in the kind of way you want your model to be built. All right. So next thing, I check the shape of the data set. That is, what's the volume of the data set I'm having. For the train, I have 12,000 records. For the test, I have 5,000 records. Then the sample summation, you can see that summation have the same number of records, which is very, very, very good. It means that I don't have to stress too much to create my sample summation, my summation file rather. Okay. If you have any question, you can use the chat, the Q&A function to, if you understand what I've been saying so far, can you just signify with a thumbs up or something on the chat session so that I can know that I'm not talking to myself, Just want to take a moment to look at the chat session. Okay. Okay. It means we are following. Thank you for that. All right. So if we check the train.info, that with the train.info, some properties of the data set, right? So we can see that out of the 12,000 records, some columns are having missing value. The car category, there are missing values there. For the gender, there are missing values there. Or the data type of each of the features. For instance, the ID is an object, then which is integer. So with this, I know what is happening in the data set. I can do the same thing for the test data set. And with the missing values in the training set, also there are missing values in the test set. So first thing that will come to mind is how do I make provision for this missing value? How do I fill in the missing values? That one is left for you. Those are the part of the tricks that will make the winner stand out today. You want to know the kind of whether you should put the mean, the median, the mode, or you do some exploratory data analysis value to represent the missing value, or do you want to drop it? So since the ratio of categorical variable to numerical variable is high, I will consider combining both train and test for easy preprocessing. What did I mean by that? I have the training set, I have the test set. So if you look at it, the object data type are more than the integer data type. It means that the categorical features are more than the numerical features. So what I would do is I'll combine both train and test together, processing together at once, so that I won't be doing I won't be repeating my code. So with this part, I'm joining the train. What I'm doing here of the IDs of the row number for the train and the test, so that after joining them together, by the time I'm done with split them back the way Zindi has given to me, I won't have issues. I won't be having wrong record for my train and wrong record for my test. So all my data has been concatenated with train and test. And if you look at all the data just in one place, it means that all my preprocessing, I quickly do it on this all data. But there are some preprocessing that are, how will I put it now, that are peculiar to the train. You need to propagate it to the test set. So in that instance, we will be working on some preprocessing on the training set and propagate it to the test set. But if it is a preprocessing that doesn't really matter whether you propagate or not, entire what, all data set at once. Okay, so what am I doing here? I'm trying to separate the features into date columns, numerical columns. So for my date columns, I have the policy start date, I have the policy end date, I have the first transaction date. Okay, so for the numerical column, I've put age. If we look at this again, we have numerical column to be age. Also, we have number of policy. But if you look at that number of policy, you'll see that it is more like a categorical feature, not a how many number of policy, how many number have, how many number of policy does this particular transaction have? So it's more like a categorical feature, not a continuous feature. Okay, so I can use the train.describe to some statistical measures of the data, right? So I can see that the mean of age is 42.23 and the is minus 60999. So that should flag something that how can age be negative, right? That is fishy, right? There's something going on in that particular feature. So you need to know how to tackle that. You need to know what is going on there. Like age of that customer cannot be negative. So Zindi giving you a negative age, isn't it? There might be something attached to that negativity, right? The number of policy as well, then the targets. So I won't, there is the minimum value in the target is 0 and the maximum value is 1. It means that we are dealing with so the same thing for the test set, right? Okay, now I want to check if the data set is balanced. That is, the number of zeros and number of 1 in the target variable. Are they like 50-50? Or is the ratio balanced or not? So if you look at this plot, you will see that we have more categorized as 0 than more customers categorized. So first thing that have to come to your mind is that I have to balance this data set. If not, your evaluation might not be, how will I put it, might not be read in the right, with the right mindset. You might be evaluating with the, because you need to balance this data set. Okay, that might also improve your model, but it might improve your model. But the major reason why we are balancing this is because we don't want our model to be biased on zeros than what? Than 1. All right. Okay, so with this, we are checking the missing values percent in the data set. So I'm using train.isNull. If there's any null value, sum it for me and divide by number of records that I have. You see that the missing values in gender, that is also a 3%. Missing values in car category is 30%. And missing value in local government area and state is 53% plus. That's very high. You might consider doing a lot of exploratory data analysis on that to know how to fill in the missing value, or you drop that, but you never can tell what the model will be learning from those features. Everything depends on how you prepare, how you build your model. So the same thing for the what for that set as well. Okay, I have to move. Now we want to check one way to actually see the contribution of each features to the target feature is to use correlation map. Okay, so with correlation plot, we can see how the features correlate to each other and also how they correlate variable, right? Okay, so if I use this last line, you will see that the age to the target, right? It means that the age does not even correlate with the target feature, and the number of policy does not really correlate with the what, with the target feature. Analysis you can do on this feature to make them correlate with what, with the target feature, because luckily enough you're not doing a regression problem. So if you are doing some charts, would have been very useful model, really useful for you, but it will be very useful in the pre-processing part of everything, right? So the correlation might not be the best since we have a lot of categorical features, because we have about 11 features and only 3 of them, I mean only 2 of them are numerical. So you might not really want to do a lot of analysis here, but it is still good to check the correlation of those numerical features to the target variable. Okay, now I'm checking all my data and I'm looking through again. And now I want to do a categorical plot. I want to check the relationship of each of the categorical features to a particular numerical feature. So since I have 2 numerical features, which are age and partially number of policy, and do a bar plot or an histogram plot against the numerical feature to see, isn't it? Okay, so we have the male. For the gender now, I'm plotting this. This is a gender plot again. The number of male and the number of female. Look, you're having entity. What does what does entity mean in gender? I don't understand. Okay, it means you have to go back to that data set and understand that entry actually means. Look at it, joint gender. What do we mean by joint gender? And this guy says no gender. I believe this no gender and nothing, because everybody must have a particular gender. So if it is not stated in the data set, then it means that it is that person did not provide his or her gender as well. Okay, so you have to find a way to regroup these particular features to fit in. These are exploratory data analysis, right? Okay, now we have number of, well, I can see some trends here. I can see that the highest here is 7 and the lowest here is 10. So I can regroup and see how my model perform. How my model perform on that. The car category as at we can see that we have a trend here as well, though the trend is not readily available to you like that, but you have to dig further to know what's going on here. And for the subject car color, you will see that what we are having here is we have a lot of categories in this subject car color. So you might consider just change color, because if you want to encode number of features into categorical features, you might end up having a sparse matrix. Well, it might be favorable to the model, and sometimes it might not be favorable. So I would just encourage, maybe you should just encode these numbers, then train a model on that before you redo it again. We have a lot of local area in the data set. Of course, you should expect that we have about 600 and something local government in Nigeria. Okay, so how do you want to undo these particular features? Do you want to group them based on the state at which they are, or just do something around it? So we have the same thing for states. And if you check product name as well, you see a clear trend here that we have MUUVE as the highest and the lowest. So I can do some regrouping here. Okay, the same thing for gender, number of policy, right? Okay, so okay, this one you can leave it since number of policy plotting the same picture against itself. All right, so let's quickly move down to how we actually did some pre-processing to this data, our EDA, and we've seen a lot of trends in that part. So it's time to do some action to the data set, do some cleaning, and build our base model. Okay, I'll be filling the missing value. For me, I've chosen 9999 to fill all the missing values in the data set, right? So the missing values with a particular value first and build a base model with that. Every part of the data set that is having none is now having 999 missing values with 999. And this number is not there's nothing special about this number. You can choose any number, you can choose anything to fill your missing value. Just know that anyone you be should not be in the original data set so that you don't have conflict, right? Okay. So if I check the missing value percentage again, you will see that everything now is complete. We don't have any missing value in the data set anymore. Then I can also look at my date features. What kind of pre-processing can I do to my date feature? First, I'm changing it to pandas data frame. Okay, so if I check the data type now, I can features are now date times 64. So what can I do to that? I can extract the year of the date. For this case, I'll be having to, I can extract the day of the policy start date. I can extract the month. I can extract what quarter of the year was the contract sealed. We do a lot of stuff with that date, but I've chosen to do just 4 stuff. So I've extract 4 features from that date column. Then we are dropping the date column. Since we've extracted what we need from that, we can drop the feature, right? So if I look at, see that I don't have the policy start date anymore. I don't have the end date anymore. What I'm having now is I'm having policy start date quarter, policy start day year, policy start day, and the likes of it like that. Okay. So for the gender, like I stated earlier, we have male, female entity, and the likes of to just find a way to regroup this entry. So changing the male to M, female to F in the gender, like entity goes to order, joint gender order, 9999 order, and the likes of it. So if I check the unique values in the data set now, I mean, for the gender column, what I'm having now is male, female, and order, right? Do I still have time? Okay, I still have like 10 minutes. Okay, now, when creating the base model, we want to create a base model. First thing, we check our target variable back to integer. Our data set, it changes it to float. So we want to change it back to integer. Then we want ID what? ID features. Different across the okay. After that, I want to split my data back to my training and test. So we kept in the first place the number of train and the number of tests. I can split my data set back, train and test, then do some what's it called, train test split. In this case, I'm doing 67% to 33%. So I'll be using 60 train for evaluation. Okay, so if I check number of, if I check the columns in my test, all these features present. All right, and my categorical features are these. Now, since we have a lot of features in the data set, that comes to mind is cat boost, because it is built based on is an algorithm that is built considering a lot of categories. It can take care of a lot of categorical data. So in this data set again, we have just about 2 numerical features. So I'll prefer to use a cat boost classifier first and see how the model is passed. Cat boost classifier, you can specify the categorical features. What that does for you is that you don't need to categorical features into like using one-not encoding, min-max encoding, and the other type of encoding. Okay, so we fit the model on the train, and we do some evaluation. And if you check the class 0, the precision is about 90%. For class 1, the precision is about 73%. The recall is almost 1, and the F1 score. Again, you have to go back to the platform and check the is using to score you. So for evaluation, Zindi is using F1 score. So, and precision is also mentioned here. So my concentration will be on F1 score and the precision, right? So if I'm doing any evaluation on any model I'm doing, my eyes will be on precision and the F1 score, because that's what my submission will be marked against. Okay. Now, after you've done your evaluation on the splitter, you want to retrain the model on the entire data set so that the model can learn more data. Why you split it in the first place is for you to be able to do evaluation. Now you've done evaluation and you see that, okay, fine, this model is performing. Let me retrain the model on the entire data set so that I can then make on the test set. Okay, now we've trained the model on the entire data set. What is to predict on the test set and make our first submission, right? So the first thing I'm checking is I'm checking if the test ID is equals to the sample submission. True. So with that, it means that I can use my sample submission file, first submission file, to create my first submission file. So we are making the prediction on the test set here, and we can see that there are more zeros than one. Balance the data set, right? So those are the things you need to do when you start coding at your end. Okay. So now I'm checking the sample submission.head, and I'm making a copy of that here. I call the copy submission file. Then I'm replacing the target of that submission file with my prediction. My prediction is from the model, right? Okay. Now that I have my sample, I have my submission file ready to Zindi. So I'm writing it into my sub file to CSV, and I'm naming that base model prediction file.csv. To include this, it is very because in the sample submission, you see that the index is not needed. So try to remove the index with just index equals false. Okay, so once I run that particular cell, I should have a base model pred file here. So I'm going to just quickly run this fast so that we can see how that will be generated. So I'm running the notebook now. Okay. For some parts. All right. So it's running. Okay, let's wait for it to get here and see. Okay, the charts are coming up. Okay. Okay. So we'll see how to make our first submission. Still have like 5 minutes. Okay. Let me check if the charts are done. Okay, the charts are still coming up. Okay. Okay, so we are good. We are good to go. Okay, so we can have this, right? Okay. All right. So I'm running the model now. You can see how it's learning from 0.66 loss, and the loss is reducing 0.22. And okay, that's finished training. I want to do some evaluation. Okay. All right. So that to fit on the entire data set, let me quickly check my chat session to see what's going on there. Okay. All right. No questions here. Using this code as you can use it. It will be available to you on the platform, so you can download it. But if you have, you can also build your own from scratch, or you just build on this one. Okay. So I'm running this now. That comes out to be true, and I want to make my first submission file. Okay. Now, once I generate this, watch this. I don't have any submission file here, but once I run this, it should generate this particular file here. So this is what I'll be submitting. You can see it. I have my prediction and ID there. So I can go back to Zindi platform. Of course, I've not joined the competition now. I'll be able to make. Okay, so do we have any question? So how you go about the submission is you join the hackathon, the hackathon code, download this, run your model, generate a submission file, then try to make submission. Once you make submission, you see the score immediately, then you appear on the leaderboard. Once you appear on the leaderboard, you can then go back to your model, retrain, do some other stuff you want to do on it, and try to improve and increase your score on the leaderboard. Okay, so I don't want to join the hackathon now, because if I make submission, I will appear on the leaderboard. Okay, all right. So do we have any question? How many submissions you make? You can make as many submissions as possible. Okay, we have. How do we get password? The password should be shared anytime soon. Okay, the password will be shared anytime soon, and you can also reach out to your campus lead for the password, right?
Yeah. I'm going to share, once you're finished, Yemi, I'm going to share the password for the data files here, and we'll put it on the discussion board as well. So if there are no other questions, I can share that. And the maximum submissions is 200, not 100. So you can make up to 200 submissions.
Okay.
Okay, I don't see any more questions. So I'm gonna then, okay, we've got 2 minutes to go. I think we can share the competitions now live. I think I can share the code. So there we go. That should be there for everybody. This is the password to access the data files. And I think we're done. Thank you very much, Yemi.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think it was a great presentation.
Thank you.
And I hope everyone's excited.
So see you all on the leader.
Nice. Cool. Good luck, everybody. I'm going to leave this chat open, and we'll be here to answer some questions, but you're all free to get started. The competition has officially opened. For those of you that are still here, one thing we didn't mention, if you are going to be working in Google Colab, we have also shared the data as Google Drive links. So in the discussion forum, you can find the Google Drive link so that you can upload your data straight into Colab.